Here's your coffee.
Thank you. It's a good morning.
Okay, this is my friend Monique.
Good morning.
She is a French immersion teacher, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we're gonna get a tour of her classroom, see how her classroom is set up, and basically we're just gonna see how teachers set up classroom nowadays.
Okay, well let's go on in. Kind of right when you first come into our classroom, what we have is a lot of important information. It's right by the door, it's easy to find if ever there's a substitute or any guests in the classroom. We of course have our evacuation route highlighted with our quickest route out. I keep this at eye level so that the students can also see where they need to go in case of any reason we need to get out of the school. We have our crisis plan up here for lockdown and evacuation. This is something as a school we review frequently. And then our little red deotangs that's seen better days, we bring this out for if there's any fire drills or any time that we're leaving the classroom. And so we just keep important things in there, a couple Band-Aids, Kleenex. I keep an inhaler in there as well. So when we go outside, if we're evacuating for a fire drill, the other side is green, so if we have all our students, everything as well, we hold up the green side, so it's easy for admin to see that we are good to go, and the red side means that there's a situation that we need assistance with.
Pretty handy because, like, especially in an emergency situation, you don't want to be like rushing around. It's like, oh, I need this, need that. It's like
you just grab it and go, grab it and go. And then I just have how my students get home again for any substitutes. This was super handy in September when, especially with grade 1, sometimes they're not always familiar with where they are going and how they're getting home. So I usually just put up who's going to daycare, who's going to parents, and who's on the bus, and what bus number, and that way there's no question, they go where they need to go. We are a Leader in Me 7 Habits school, so I like to keep this poster, again, eye level for the students so that they can be frequently reminded of the 7 habits. We started receiving our training last year, so this is our second year fully diving into that. And it's been a really great experience. The students are able to recognize all the habits and what type of situation is each habit, and that way they're able to, resolve any problems if they have problems, to see who is being proactive, seeking first to understand and then to be understood. I'm sure that you can hear my noisy class pets that we have. So right after spring break, we were starting one of our science units, which was the life cycle of an animal. And I have never ever before done the life cycle of a chicken, or have I ever had eggs in my classroom. It was something I've always wanted to try. And so I found a nice farm that was able to sell me an incubator and the eggs. They were super supportive and walked through because I had a lot of questions. As I have no farming background, so they were really great. Of our dozen chicks, we had 8 that hatched, and as you can see, like, they've grown so much that half of them have to be in another little container so that they're not super squished in there. They've been hatched for about 2 weeks now, so they're going to make their way back to their farm shortly. So it was a really good learning experience for everybody.
And how did the kids like the whole experience of just going from egg to chick?
It was long. When we started the process, we had the option of getting fertilized eggs, which take 21 days to hatch, or pre-incubated eggs that take 3 days to hatch. When we brought in the eggs, that was kind of a little bit of a halt because it was so long that the kids kept looking at the eggs and nothing was happening. But at day 21, when they started to hatch, and I was of course super nervous that maybe none of them would hatch, but they did, and it was the coolest experience. The kids got to see firsthand the eggs actually hatch. With their iPads, they were able to take video and pictures of it happening. We shared them on social media, and it was just a really cool experience for everybody. And I will definitely be doing it again next year, for sure.
And you should check out Monique's social media. That's how we actually found her out, because she's always posting stuff.
I'm always on Instagram.
Yeah, it's actually really useful how she posts like stuff on it all the time. So check it out. It is at
Madame, so MME_Barr, BARR.
Check out in the description. It's also there. So
yeah, thanks.
All right.
Thank you. And so when we're starting a provocation, we have the students, I had my students question things. So what did they want to learn about the eggs? What did they want to learn about the hatching process or the chicks? She's saying, vont-ils être mignons? Will they be cute?
All right, fun fact. Japanese schools don't have janitors. Basically, children actually clean up their own school.
We actually do that in our classroom.
Oh, you guys do it
as well. Each student has a special job that they have to do before we go home, just to help our janitors out.
Yeah, but not saying that custodians do a very good job cleaning our schools. They're very important people in our schools.
Extremely important. Keep them happy.
Cool. All right, next part. You have a whole bunch of books here.
Yes.
What's going on here?
So with any classroom, and especially in French immersion, exposure to print and literacy is fundamental and very important. And so I set up my books. Here they're based by theme, they're not based by level. So the students can go through as they learn that reading a book is not necessarily only reading the text, where you can actually read the book by looking at the pictures and figuring out the content of the book at that time.
There's a lot of French, and I guess like Monique said, is this all about exposure. And a lot of these kids don't usually have French immersion usually, actually. Or French background, I should say.
Yeah.
And then they're just learning by exposing overall.
Absolutely. Yeah, most of them go home and it's just right back into English. So as much as we can immerse the students in the language, the far better it is for them. So yeah, we can move over to my word wall. I use my word wall a little differently than perhaps others. I use my word wall more based on what we're learning in themes. We have some of our high frequency words, I have them stored on our iPads, which I can show after. But what I have is just all my themed words for whatever science unit or math units that we're doing, and expose the kids to just that vocabulary building there so that they have that extra knowledge. And oh my gosh, tissue. How many boxes does a grade 1 class go through in a year? Probably close to 40 or 50. So
that's
we
impressive.
Always have to have tissue on hand.
I noticed that, like kids even don't need a tissue, still needs a tissue.
Oh, a tissue fixes everything. Just like a Band-Aid. We have tables in our classroom, and I like to keep my tables fairly clear for distracted reasons and just to keep things simple. And so we store a lot of our supplies here and we just take them as we need them. The students who are helpers of the day will pass them out whenever we need for the activities, and then they organize it, so they are taking care and being responsible for all of their supplies right there.
We get markers, Stan.
Yes, my wonderful husband made this for me.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I keep my little markers there and the kids organize them in little rainbows, and if they ever need them for certain projects or something, they can come and grab them. I don't like to keep them all out because with the lids and they dry out really quickly. Sure. So yeah. And then there's the coffee and there's the MacBook and the iPad. A great part for teaching and learning and planning and prepping. So we're very thankful to our school for providing the teachers with that.
And we always have, in the video, we always have coffee related thing. I don't know why. If you're a student, don't drink coffee.
No.
Talk to your teacher. I'm sure she'll give you something that's more nutritious than coffee.
Yeah, and if you're thinking of going into the teaching profession, start drinking coffee. This is my special, quiet, calming little egg chair from IKEA. I have inside of it I have like a little anxiety box. And it's just for if you're having moments that you're feeling a little overwhelmed. There's some headphones to tune out the noise. Have a little pinwheel, I think they're called. So if the students want to blow on it, just to calm down. There's some Play-Doh for fidgeting. I have from Sage, I bought one of those little relaxer rings that they roll up and down their fingers. And a little teddy bear for cuddling. So in moments of overwhelmingness or high emotions, students are always welcome to come and sit and close this if they just need a few minutes to themselves. We have a science project that we did when we were just beginning, trying to intrigue the students in our life cycles of plants. And so we painted some pots, and these will be special little things that are going to go home here at the end of the week that the students can give to their parents. And they grew and grew and grew, and the kids are super excited about it, and it brings a little something to the classroom, and there's lots of green. And of course, always keep books and literature nearby. This is a bit of my non-quiet area of the classroom. The kids are just 6, so they like to play, or think that they're playing. And so I have some blocks, I have some math manipulatives. We just finished a science unit on building things, so I have all these wonderful building blocks that the kids were able to go through and build things of their creations. Often we would throw in a little STEM challenge and ask them to build something that was, as tall as they were, or something that was as long as they were. Just different tasks to keep it interesting and push a little bit further in their exploring and discovering.
So all these stuff that Monique just talked about, a lot of parents think that these are toys.
Can I have the following teachers to the office?
Announcements. So a lot of parents think these are basically toys, right, Monique?
They do, and often just viewed as, they're just playing. The students are just playing.
Yeah. But it's actually, like Monique said, like with Mr. Potato Head, they're actually learning body parts,
They're
right?
learning body parts, and even with the potato heads, we were writing descriptive sentences. So they described their potato head, what color the shoes were, what color the eyes were. So it's just incorporating play. It's learning through play for the kids.
So they are kind of toys, but we're using it as educational tools.
Absolutely.
Essentially. So, fun fact, Dr. Seuss wrote Green Eggs and Ham because it was a bet to a friend that he can write a book with 50 words or less.
That's impressive.
And I had no idea that was true.
I had no idea. That's awesome. I have my math bulletin board here. This is something I keep up all year round so that the kids can touch base with it as they need to. These printouts I got off of Teachers Pay Teachers, so super easy, just to click and print. It has all the numbers and the written word, as well as various representations of the numbers.
It's kind of neat too, because like if you look, does it by tally, for dice, and just counting, I guess. It's actually tick marks, because a lot of people don't use that. They don't understand the whole dash thing with the number 5.
5 and the dash. It's a big concept. So I just keep that up all year for the kiddos to work with as they do their math.
Cool.
Then kind of more over here is more my guided reading, small group work. So I have my bulletin board of all the sounds. I have regrouped all my sounds according to their complex sounds that they make. So I have all my vowels, all the consonants, and then I have all the grouping of the complex sounds. So all these letter combinations here all make the same sound A. So I keep that up so the kids could, if they need to reference for when they're decoding a word, they can reference the wall and what sound it makes.
Okay, so obviously it's a little bit different for French.
It is a little bit different for French because like all the consonant sounds generally make the same sound, like M makes a M, whether French or English, but it's the vowels that change, and it's our complex sounds, like O-N, obviously in English would say on, but in French it's on, and then O-M also makes the sound on. So it kind of add a little change and twist in there for the French program. So we just keep that up again all year round as we're working on our reading so the kids can reference it. Each picture has a story. So in French, the letter H makes no sound. It's completely silent. So this story about the letter H is about a really shy letter and how it doesn't like to make any noise. So they're able to identify the letter and the story that goes with it to help them remember the sound when they're unfamiliar.
Cool. And this table?
And this is my general guided reading table. I also do some guided math here as well, but it's mostly for guided reading. The kids come in small groups based on their reading levels or based on whatever need it is if I'm working on rhymes. And I have some students that need little reminders or targets, goals for rhyming. They come to my table. I have all my books right here that it's quick reach of the hand for them. And we try and read about once a day, once every 2 days with the groups, depending on their needs. And while they're reading, the rest of the class is working on other things for like daily 5. So they're reading to self, reading to a partner, doing some word work, doing some writing, listening to reading, and various things like that while we work.
And what's going on here?
This is my little iPad that I use like a documentation camera. So what I do for the students and for the parents when I'm reading a book, and we have a book of the week when we're doing our guided reading because repetition really is so fundamental in French immersion. So what I do is I record myself reading the book and then I can share it with the parents that they can have it on their devices at home and read those same books with the students. And the students can also read those books that I've recorded from their iPads so that they can have a lot of exposure to that frequent vocabulary and structure.
Viens ici, Thérèse. C'est l'heure de te...
Actually, very clever because basically you just record off the iPad.
Yep.
And it's on the iPad.
It's
and
on
then
the
you
iPad,
can
yeah.
just
And I send it out. So I use an app that I have the parents that are on, and then that way they can access it at home if they struggle. Not all parents know French, are able to read French, so this is a way to kind of keep them immersed in the language at home as well. There's been a lot of positive feedback about that. So yeah.
And it's actually really good for, like you said, kind of English-speaking household.
Yes.
Where they don't normally speak French.
Exactly, and the parents can learn the language too. So they're, a lot of parents are saying, "Oh, it all comes back to me now." So, yeah, it's good to support them at home.
The world's oldest gum is 9,000 years old.
That's great. So we start our day pretty much with the smartboard routine first thing in the morning. What I'm doing with that is we start off with the morning message for the kids to read and to see what's going to be going on for the day. After we do our morning message, we go right into our daily plan, and I do this for just the expectation of the day so that the students know what to expect. They know what comes next. Sometimes we have to adjust it, so it's easy to move things around, change the orders, and it just helps everybody to keep on track and know what's going on during the day. So I find it's quite nice.
And for people who never used smartboard before, these are like they're kind of like touchscreens, so you can move things around if you need to.
Hey, another fantastic feature that we're so fortunate to have in our schools, we are a 1-to-1 iPad ratio for all the students, and so each student here has their own iPad. It took me a little while to figure it out, but I bought these little book holders. They're supposed to be for to hold books, but I use them for my iPads, and the charger cords are underneath, so it kind of keeps things neat and tidy and quick when the kids need to charge them. Students are by no means playing on an iPad and just being put in front of a screen expected to learn. We are integrating the iPads into our learning. We're not just substituting an iPad for a pencil. We're really modifying student learning and even redefining how they learn, so it's easy to adapt for what students need. We can use things like talk to text if printing is a struggle for them. We also have figured out how they can highlight a text and have it read to them, which is awesome in French, because the kids are able to have their sentences read back to them, or if we find a text online that I want them to look at, they're able to have the little iPad voice come and read it to them.
Cool little holder case.
Yeah, so these are our little eyeballs that are there. So I've never tried it, but it is said that if you drop your iPad, that the eyeballs will protect them and nothing will happen. But I've never tried that because I'm too nervous to do it.
Well, is it so far okay then?
So far it's been okay.
There we go.
Far it's been great.
I guess it's working fine then.
Yeah, it's working good. So yeah, and the kids are super responsible with them and take really good care. So it's really great to see them take ownership and responsibility for that. Just my little prayer area in the classroom where I display some books. Right now we're learning about, Jesus and the Two Sisters for Mary and Martha. So I have just little books that the kids can look through as they need, the Bible, our rosary. This is for our campfire, so social stories that just helps them to develop. That's when we do our paths. We just recently had path training this year, so that's when we do our path time. And of course, kids' highlighted part is they get to have a marshmallow, because what is a campfire without a marshmallow? So they get that, and they really look forward to it. They really look forward to it. So we always end our week Friday before dismissal with a campfire.
That's cute. I like it. And what's all these do things?
These do things are just one way when we're doing any paperwork. I have them divided by color, which each color has a subject. And we do our best to keep them very well organized. And I keep just a few of the papers if we have any, like, you know, math sheets or different type of paperwork. I just keep them stored up there so it's kind of easy grab.
And then last part.
And then the last part here, this is what we call our talking stick. So this is something that we've learned through the 7 Habits and Leader in Me. We use this every day after every recess and coming into the school, and whoever has a stick is the only one who talks, and they are able to express what they want to express. If they've had perhaps a conflict or a problem, if they've had something bucket filling. So we read the book, Have You Filled a Bucket Today? And the students who did something good, you know, we want to highlight that positive, they're able to share that during talking stick time. So we do it frequently after every recess, coming in the morning, or sometimes sporadically if you need it after a gym experience, then we can go ahead and do that. So I just leave that as easy access. And yeah.
Cool. So thanks, Monique, for giving me a tour of your classroom. Random question. If you were a favorite part of your classroom, what would it be?
Oh my gosh.
I think it's all.
It's everything. I really love the windows though. I love that I have just wall-to-wall windows and we can see outside in the sun, especially today.
Yeah, natural light is good.
Natural light.
Green space is good, so it's really good anyway.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Yes.
thanks, Monique.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hit subscribe, hit like. Any question, just leave it down below for comments. Any question from Monique, just put down in the comment and I'll try to ask her. And then thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you.